We've been exploring a couple of different ideas of good and bad board game design. And in this vlog, I want to explore the idea of modifiers. So we're playing this board game, we're taking various actions, and there's a range of possibility, whether you want to call that the fog of war or the efficiency of a unit or just the random. I'm rolling a D6, a D8, a D10, or customized dice with various symbols to hit, to succeed, to move, to do something in the game. And of course, based on the narrative, based on my character, based on the ship that I'm playing, it's going to roll a range of dice that allow it to do something within a certain area. Once we bring in modifiers, modifiers are a way to temporarily boost, change, or manipulate the dice for a mechanic to stress certain points. So if I'm a mage and I cast some sort of bonus on a fighter, when you roll that D6 for the next 2 turns, you're going to add +1. That's a real easy way to bake in an effect into the game without making it extremely complex. Likewise, you get hit by a trap in the dungeon. Poison smoke fills the room. For the next turn that you're in the room, it's a -1 modifier to your D6 movement dice. Or I get to re-roll my dice with a certain type of modifier. So this idea of modifiers is important in board game design because it's a way to expand the narrative and bring in certain special effects, certain boosts, without making it overly complex. The challenge, in my opinion, with bad board game design is where modifiers stack on modifiers stack on modifiers. And I think this happens when we need to sidebar just for a moment to framework this. We're playing a role-playing game, whether it's fantasy, sci-fi, modern, and the rules are very complex. You can kind of do anything you want, whether that's a good idea or a bad idea. We push that to another time. But you have this huge scope of play within the rules. And it's moderated by a dungeon master or a game master or a referee. But there is significant play time, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8 hours, time well spent. But at the same time, prep time with the player running the game. The whole idea behind board games is you take that experience and you make it essentially plug and play. You have a board gaming experience that you can sit down. The rules do a good job of simulating, and there's no prep time. You just set up the game, flip the mission, and go. So we're trying to capture that RPG experience into a board game experience. Modifiers are a way to do this. But as soon as you start to really have modifiers stack on modifiers, stack on modifiers, because bad board game design is trying to push out and give you so many options and essentially turn it into a role-playing game when it's not. A good board game will simulate a role-playing game and in a good way, fool you, trick you, make you believe it's a role-playing game when it's a board game. The second I have to stack and calculate modifiers, that pulls me out of the game. That pulls me out of the game, and now I'm got my Excel sheet open and I'm crunching numbers and running macros to do it. So if I normally roll a D6 to attack, and now, okay, wait, so now I get to roll an extra D6 because I'm hasted and I have that bonus. That's great. But the monsters we're fighting have an aura of despair, so I lose a D6 custom die, so I take that off. But I've got my magic gear, which rolls more crit dice, which means any crits I roll now get confirmed to double crits, and I pull in another D6. Like, all this calculation, I'm trying to figure it out. I don't even know what I'm doing right now. The other players are like, Fritz, stop analysis paralysis, take your turn. Modifiers are important, but keeping them focused, keeping them tight, gives your players the option, has those spell effects, but does not drag or bog down the game.